Hi everybody. So in this video we are going to study Mrcchakatika. So Mrcchakatika is one of the finest example of the classical Indian literature, and it also provides the valuable insights into the social, political and cultural aspects of the India back in those days. Also, if we translate this particular work Mrcchakatika into English, it says the little clay cart. So Mrcchakatika is a Sanskrit name and the little clay cart is an English name. Okay. Now this is the earliest surviving plays from ancient India that deals with everyday aspects of life. Okay, which is called the Prakarana play. So we will come to that. What is Prakarana play in the later part of this video, and we will briefly look at what is Prakarana and what is simply a Nataka. Okay, there is a difference between Nataka and a Prakarana. Okay, now this play is a romantic comedy that revolves around two of the major characters, that is Charudatta and Vasant Sena. So Charudatta, he's a good Brahmin and he's also a poor Brahmin, and also the another character is a Vasant Sena. He's a courtesan, and there is going to be a love affair between Charudatta and Vasant Sena. Alright, and this plot is filled with humorous incidents, mistaken identities, and also the mixed characters from different social backgrounds, different social class, that offers the glimpse of that ancient India. So without any further delay, let's get started. Okay, there is a difference between Nataka and Prakarana. So this particular play that we are dealing with is a Prakarana play. So Nataka, you can simply say Natak. Natak is a genre of writing Sanskrit drama, and Nataka, there is a difference between Nataka and Prakarana. So Nataka has it is based on legends, simply like someone who is very strong. The main character would be very strong, like if we take an example, Avigyanam Sakuntalam. So Avigyanam Sakuntalam is basically a kind of Nataka. Okay, now Nataka also features kings and great heroes as a protagonist. मतलब कि नाटक के अंदर जो प्रोटैगनिस्ट होंगे, जो मेन कैरेक्टर होगा, है ना, वो हमेशा कोई बड़ा आदमी होगा. either he would be a king or a great hero from classical Indian myths. And also the language that Nataka uses is of high class, which is called Sanskrit. Okay, and also it has a single theme throughout the play. So within a Natak or within a Nataka, the theme of any particular Nataka would be the same. एक ही theme पे continuous stories आगे unfold होते रहेंगे. Okay, and also it's written in the style of tragedy. So majority of the Nataka is written in a tragic form, in a tragedy. I'm pretty sure that you are aware of the tragedy. What is the difference between tragedy and comedy, right? Because Prakarana is basically a comedy play. It is based upon a comedy. And if you do not have any idea like how many kinds of plays are there, then please let me know in the comment section. I will definitely make a video on drama and types of dramas. All right. अब देखते हैं Prakarana play. So Prakarana is a very distinguished, it's a very different kind of play that Sudaraka uses. And in Prakarana, there is a difference that the writer, uses or he invents characters. So there is a invention of characters in this particular kind of play. So उसमें legends होते थे नाटका में. इसमें क्या होता है कि जो legends होते हैं उसको बनाया जाता है, invent किया जाता है ना. Also, it features a middle class protagonist. So the main character would belong to a middle class family. And also in Prakarana, we don't find too much of Sanskrit. So Sanskrit ज़्यादा use, क्योंकि Sanskrit was basically a kind of high class or elite language back in those days. ठीक है, तो they used to speak a very common language जो common लोगों के द्वारा बोला जाता था. And also Prakarana has a subplot. ठीक है, इसका कोई लीनियर प्लॉट नहीं होता है. इट हैज़ सर्टन काइंड ऑफ सब प्लॉट, बिकॉज इफ यू रीड व्हेन वी रीड दिस पर्टिकुलर टेक्स्ट, व्हेन वी रीड दिस मृच्छकटिका, देन वी विल फाइंड कि कहानी के अंदर कहानी होगा, है ना. दैट इज कॉल्ड सब प्लॉट्स. नाउ इट इज़ रिटन इन द कॉमेडी स्टाइल दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन. सो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द कैरेक्टर्स. प्लीज़ स्टॉप दिस वीडियो एंड टेक ए स्क्रीन शॉट. ये जितने भी कैरेक्टर्स हैं उन सारे कैरेक्टर्स के नेम्स एंड वो किन के साथ बिलोंग करते हैं, एवरीथिंग इज़ हेयर. but for your understanding, I've made a small, I've concluded all the important characters here. So just take a brief look. So Charudatta, he's our main character, and Vashant Sena, the another main character. So we are going to see the relationship, the love and romance between Charudatta and Vashant Sena. Okay, this is the main story. This is the main story. Now there is another subplot in here, and the subplot would be of the story of Aryaka. So ऐसा prophecy किया गया था कि Aryaka would become a king one day, and because of that he is imprisoned, and that we will see in the later part of this video. ठीक है? So Aryaka की एक अलग कहानी, Aryaka and his friend श्रवलिका, है ना, शर्वलिका, इसकी अलग कहानी चलेगी. दिस इज कॉल्ड सब प्लॉट, है ना, कहानी के अंदर कहानी जिसको बोलते हैं. ठीक है. अच्छा, मैंने जो ग्रुप दिया था कॉलेज में, उसमें शायद मदनिका को मैंने इसकी वाइफ लिख दिया था बाय मिस्टेक, है ना. तो प्लीज़ करेक्ट दैट आउट, बिकॉज देखो यहाँ पे रदनिका के ऊपर ही वाइफ लिखा हुआ है, तो वाइफ का कोई ऐसे नाम नहीं था. एंड वी विल कम टू दैट इन दिस पर्टिकुलर प्ले की वाइफ का नाम क्यों नहीं दिया हुआ है. आइदर यू कैन कॉल हर दत्ता. ठीक है. द वाइफ ऑफ चारू दत्ता इज सिंपली दत्ता, और सिंपली दे कॉल इट द वाइफ, एंड रदनिका इज अ मेड ऑफ चारू दत्ता. ठीक है. नाउ वन इज रदनिका एंड वन इज मदनिका. ठीक है. सो मदनिका is a maid of Vasant Sena, and Radanika is a maid of Charudatta, and Rohe Sena is actually the son of Charudatta and his wife. ठीक है. And Maitreya is a very close friend of Charudatta. So these are the main characters. And another, there is a thief, and he has a very high moral ground. He is not just a common thief. इस थीप के पास बहुत, इसका जो मोरल है, इसकी जो मोरालिटी एथिक्स है, काफ़ी हायर ग्राउंड का है, एंड दैट वी विल ऑल्सो स्टडी इन दिस पर्टिकुलर प्ले. ठीक है. नाउ आई बिलीव दैट यू आर अवेयर ऑफ ऑल द इम्पॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टर्स. अब हम आगे चलते हैं, प्ले की शुरुआत करते हैं. सो प्ले बिगिंस विद द प्रोलॉग. प्रोलॉग का मतलब है कि किसी भी प्ले के जो सबसे पहले उसके बारे में कुछ टेक्स्ट दे दिया जाता है या बता दिया जाता है कि दिस इज़ व्हाट आई एम इंक्लूडिंग इन दिस पर्टिकुलर प्ले. सो प्ले की कहानी को एक तरह से छोटे शब्दों में या छोटे तरीके से दिया गया होता है प्ले के पहले. सो देयर इज़ अ प्रोलॉग एंड एपिलॉग. एपिलॉग इज़ द एंडिंग ऑफ द ड्रामा और एंडिंग ऑफ एनी टेक्स्ट. टेक्स्ट के अंत में जो होता है उसको एपिलॉग कहते हैं, और टेक्स्ट के पहले जो होता है उसको प्रोलॉग कहते हैं. ठीक है. नाउ द प्ले स्टार्ट्स विद द बेनिडिक्शन अपॉन द ऑडियंसेस. जैसा कि किसी भी क्लासिकल टिपिकल प्ले में होता है कि दे इज़ गोइंग टू बी अ बेनिडिक्शन अपॉन द ऑडियंसेस, है ना. तो इसमें किसको इवोक किया जा रहा है? इसमें लॉर्ड शिवा को इवोक किया जा रहा है. ठीक है. एंड वी विल स्टडी द लाइन्स. इट्स वेरी ब्यूटीफुल एंड यू शुड डेफिनेटली रीड दिस पर्टिकुलर टेक्स्ट लाइन बाय लाइन. सो कहता है कि हिज बेंडेड नीज द नॉटेड ग्रिडल होल्स fashioned by the doubling of the serpent's fold. You see the serpents, around his neck. So he's talking about Lord Shiva, and he says that his sensitive organs, so he checks his breath, are numbed till consciousness seems sunk in death. So this is also written in iambic pentameter. So it's a very beautiful, way of writing poetry. It's also in couplets. See, holes, folds, breath, death, seas, activities. So this is written in a rhyming pattern. And also जो प्राकरना प्ले होता है, प्राकरना प्ले में बेसिकली इतने राइमिंग्स नहीं होते हैं, बट सुदरका वॉज वेरी इंटेलेक्चुअल एंड ही एक्चुअली मिक्स्ड नाटका विथ प्राकरना. सो उसने नाटका का भी, मतलब कैरेक्टर्स को भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा संस्कृत बोलने पे, मतलब इन दिस पर्टिकुलर प्ले यू विल फाइंड दैट इवन द कैरेक्टर्स लाइक चारू दत्ता एंड वसंत सेना, दे वुड बी स्पीकिंग इन संस्कृत एज वेल. Anyway, now it says, within himself, with eyes of truth he sees, the all soul free from all activities. May Shiva's meditation be your strong defense on the great self, thinks he, knowing full well the world's vacuity. Now he's evoking Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is basically is a kind of person, whose strength is very powerful, and also जब वो मतलब अपने मन को शांत करके बैठे रहते, तो ही कैन लिटरली थिंक अबाउट द इंटायर यूनिवर्स, बिकॉज ही इज़ द पर्सन, ही इज़ अ डिस्ट्रॉयर, ही इज़ द ब्रिंगर. I mean Lord Shiva is one of the strongest god in this universe, right, as we have already studied in from the classical Indian myths. Now प्रोलॉग के बाद क्या होता है कि द डायरेक्टर कम्स ऑन द स्टेज एंड ही सेज दैट इनफ ऑफ दिस टीडियस वर्क. सो टीडियस वर्क नाउ फ्रॉम हियर ऑनवर्ड्स कॉमेडी की शुरुआत हो जाती है कि अब लोगों को लगने लगता है कि नाउ ऑल द थिंग्स विल वॉट एवर द स्टोरी इज़ गोइंग टू बी इन अ कॉमिक इफेक्ट. ठीक है, तो कॉमिक इफेक्ट डालने के लिए जो स्टेज डायरेक्टर है ही कम्स ऑन द स्टेज एंड ही सेज इनफ ऑफ द टीडियस वर्क. अब मैं टीडियस वर्क नहीं देने वाला हूँ, है ना. तो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड विद द प्ले. So he says, so he gives the introduction of our writer, so which is Sudaraka, है ना. तो मे बी एग्ज़ाम में आपको क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. एग्ज़ाम में यू विल गेट अ क्वेश्चन समथिंग लाइक एक्सप्लेन, या फिर कह देगा कि डिस्कस सुदरका एज अ ग्रेट इंडियन क्लासिकल ड्रामेटिस्ट, समथिंग लाइक दैट, है ना. तो यू विल हैव टू राइट अबाउट सुदरका, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पर्सन ही वाज, एंड and in this one we will try to understand what kind of dramatist he was, है ना. तो कहता है कि he viewed with elephants in lordly grace, whose eyes were those of the chakora bird that feeds on moonbeams glorious. His face as the full moon, his person all have heard was together lovely first in birth. Among the twice born was the poet known as Sudaraka, far above on earth, his virtuous depth unfathomed and alone. So, in the beginning itself, we get to understand that Sudaraka is not an ordinary person. He is a very clever, he's a very intellectual, he's a very unfathomed, kind of poet. और इनकी जो कहानी है ये हम अभी देखने जा रहे हैं, है ना. The audiences they are going to understand, they are going to know what kind of person he is and what kind of play he has written. So he's a great person. He is admiring the fact that he is a great personality. ठीक है, अब आगे चलते हैं. Now he goes on saying that now he is going to give us the description or a small brief introduction of the play, like what is going to unfold. तो कहता है कि within the town Avanti named. So Avanti is the city name. Avanti is the city name which is in Ujjaini, है ना, which is in Ujjaini. और कहता है कि अब तो शहर का नाम आ गया. So now we understood that this particular play is set in a city called Avanti or Ujjaini. ठीक है, और कहता है कि dwells on called Charudatta. So Charudatta is the first person. He's the main character here. And he's talking, he's famed no less for youth and poverty, a merchant son and Brahmins he. So he's saying that he's a Brahmin, he's a son of a merchant, and there is a poverty stricken him. Now he's not as rich as he used to be. There was a time when our main character, this Charudatta, he used to be very rich. Now he has given away all his wealth to others, and now he's a very poor person. And then he says his virtues have the power to move Vasansena's inmost love. Now he says he's so virtuous that even the Vasansena has fallen in love with him. So Vasansena is not an ordinary woman. She's a very virtuous, she's also a very strong and very rich person, and still she's fallen in love with our main character, our Charudatta. So that says कि चारुदत्ता कितना ज़्यादा he was a very great person, he was a very good person, है ना. Also he says fair as the springtime radiancy and yet the courtesan she is. So she is some kind of like springtime radiancy, मतलब she is very beautiful. This is the description of a beautiful woman, है ना. जैसे spring कितना सुंदर होता है ना. स्प्रिंग के समय the flowers glows and everything, the flower blooms and चारों तरफ like फूल ही फूल आते हैं और अच्छी सी सुगंध. And also there is even the sky, even the sun is like great in this particular time. तो कह रहे कि जिस तरह से spring काफ़ी सुंदर होता है, बिल्कुल same. I mean it's basically a kind of comparison of spring with our character Vasansena. ठीक है. Now she is a courtesan. Courtesan is someone who is a prostitute. Prostitute को courtesan कहते हैं. But she is not a typical prostitute here. She is a different kind of. And also she is a very rich. She has a great wealth, and also people admire him. Also, she has a certain kind of standard in the society. ठीक है. Now he goes on further saying, so here King Sudaraka the tale imparts of love's pure festival in those two hearts, which means there is going to be a love between Charudatta and Vasansena. So we are going to see the love story unfolding. Now it says, of prudent act of lawsuit, wrong and hate, a rascal's nature, and the curse of fate. So there is going to be a bad character as well. And there would be some people, there would be some character, who would be of bad nature, and we are going to, counter that as well. Now we will end this video. So the introduction and the prologue is over. So in the next video, I'm going to cover the first part, the first act of this play. ठीक है, टोटल 10 एक्ट हैं इस पूरे कहानी के अंदर, इस पूरे प्ले के अंदर. एंड आई एम गोइंग टू मेक एटलीस्ट 6 to 7 videos to cover the entire 10 acts. And after watching this video, I'm pretty sure that you are going to understand the entire play beautifully. And also I will try to bring all the critical approaches. And also I will at the end of this video, or at the end of the of this particular lecture, what I will do is I will give you couple of questions, 5 या 10 questions I will provide you, and उसके आसपास या उसके इर्द गिर्द ही एग्जाम में questions आने वाले हैं. ठीक है. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.